beautiful fall night on the campus of North Carolina Central University in Durham. Let's get ready for some football, folks, as we welcome you to ESPN's college football presentation presented by McDonald's. Bethune-Cookman looking to extend their perfect 2-0 MEAC record as they ready for the Eagles of North Carolina Central. And folks, let me put you on alert that when these two teams play each other, they'll keep you on the edge of your seats. And look, 3 of the last 4 meetings have been decided in the closing seconds, not to mention last year's double overtime game in Daytona Beach. As we say hello and welcome in with the former Howard University and NFL quarterback Jay Walker, I'm Tiffany Green. Now, these two teams have seen a budding rivalry really develop over the last several years, and this is a great kickoff, if you will, for the weekend that we will see in the MEAC.
Yeah, it's conference time, and right now every victory is valuable. Bethune-Cookman came into this football season with high expectations. They expect to compete for a championship. Well, their season thus far has been like the old school Raiders. Just win, baby. They don't care how they've been winning. The fact is, for Coach Sims, they have been winning, but they're yet to play their best game of football, which is going to be a tough sign for North Carolina Central if the Wildcats get it together tonight.
I'll tell you this, just get the ball in the hands of number 1, Jimmy Robinson, your playmaker.
Jimmy Robinson does everything on the football field, one of the most exciting players in all of FCS football. He's one of those guys, you must know where he is at all times on the football field. He can line up at wide receiver, he can line up in running back, and he can take a little simple pass and turn it into an 80-yard touchdown. The key for North Carolina Central is going to be locate and slow down Jimmy Robinson.
Isaiah Totten has had a slow start to the season, but he seems to get bigger when the games are brighter.
Yeah, big-time Isaiah Totten. He came in and took this conference by storm. He's a preseason all-MEAC selection. If North Carolina Central is going to start getting this offense going, they must be able to run the football, and Isaiah Totten is their go-to running back.
Well, I'll tell you, there's so much in store and a lot on the line in this MEAC showdown on this Thursday night. We'll see you back in 60 seconds.
My stress plan. Cigna, together, all the way.
O'Kelly Riddick Stadium starting to bounce here on this Thursday night. North Carolina Central student section is ready. You hear the baby playing in the background.
What I've always liked about them at North Carolina Central, unique experience, they have a hype man throughout the game. They've got a DJ hype man that plays music, and from time to time, the football team will get hyped up off the song being played over the PA system.
Trey Oliver in his homecoming first season as head coach. His team coming in at 2-4 on the year. They picked up a conference win against Morgan State. They have yet to win against Bethune-Cookman here in Durham as we are underway. And Jordan Freeman takes the kickoff, and he's got a little space still on his feet just across the 20-yard line, and he's brought down, and that's where we'll get a chance to see our first look at the true freshman, Davius Richard, and this Eagles offense.
Exciting potential here in Davius Richard, the quarterback who stepped up, got leadership beyond his years. But many people watching North Carolina Central for the first time expected to see Chauncey Caldwell as the quarterback. Well, he's no longer with the program, but to be honest, they really quite haven't missed a beat yet with Richard. They played better than you would have thought. You see the numbers there. He's got great size. When you talk about a guy that can spin it, he's got a special arm.
Richard out of Belle Glade, Florida, standing at 6'3", just about 200 pounds. And before we get things underway in our first snap, penalty against North Carolina Central. They are the most penalized team in FCS, and that's one of the things Trey Oliver talked about with us this week, is trying to create more discipline within this program.
And they're penalized, and that hurts themselves. That's a mental mistake right there. But also Bethune-Cookman is also one of the most penalized teams as well. So this could be yellow flag day. Hope I'm wrong.
Backs him up 5 yards, 1st and 15, high snap. Richard able to hold on to it, and he's trying to make something out of nothing, able to scamper out of bounds, but he'll take a loss there of about 6.
And what a disappointing start to this offensive possession. Get the ball, 5-yard penalty, then the next play, the timing is off, and you end up losing another 5 yards. This is not the way you help out your freshman quarterback that's playing probably the best defense he's faced this season.
Already 11 yards lost for the Eagles as this group is coming off a tough road loss in Tallahassee, trying to spoil FAMU's homecoming. They were able They weren't able to come up with the W. Richard with time, and now he's in the end zone, danger zone, able to get the ball away. It's caught and bringing the pressure. Yeah, for a loss once again. Bringing that pressure was Tony Bowman and Jamarius Reeves.
And this is something as we watch Richard become a better quarterback, he's going to realize right away you're close to the end zone. Get rid of it. Get rid of it now. Fortunately, he was strong enough to run through that arm tackle and get rid of the football, but that could have just as easily become a safety and given Bethune-Cookman a 2-point advantage.
They were just across the 20-yard line to start this drive. Now they're inside the 10. 3rd and 23. And the handoff to Totten. And Totten, with not a whole lot of room, he's brought down by Ontario Johnson. A pickup of 3, and that'll bring up 4th down.
Good job by the defensive unit for Bethune-Cookman. Their defensive coordinator, Yogi Jones, had the Wildcats out ready to play. We talked to them about what they were going to do in this game, and they said we have to make that quarterback uncomfortable. I don't know if it was nerves or the pressure being applied by Bethune-Cookman, but it was a good job in the first series.
Tyrese Spain back to return it. John Picaro on the punt, trying to bring some pressure. And Spain calling for the fair catch, and there's a flag in the end zone as Bethune-Cookman was a little aggressive.
First down, yeah, that's a mistake there. That's the wrong variety. He wasn't running into the kicker. That was roughing the kicker. You'll see after the ball's clearly off, he decides to swing that arm at him. And this is what you're going to call a silly mistake here, because could have been avoided had he kept his hands to himself. Huge break for North Carolina Central. Yeah,
we mentioned that both of these teams among the most penalized, and they're aiding in North Carolina Central's continuance of drive was Jimmy Robinson, who was called for that roughing the kicker. So Davis Richard back on the field, and another yellow flag out before the snap.
Number 55, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Rick Warren, our official for tonight, and Trey Oliver, who played here as a safety and punter, now returning in his first season as head coach of his alma mater, and he is looking forward to turning around the culture and changing things around. You saw those 5 conference championships that he's won as a player or coach. Totten with absolutely nowhere to go. A ton of white jerseys surrounding him. Judas McKenzie and Marquise Hendricks in on the stop.
We talked about Trey Oliver, you know, all he's been able to accomplish. I think the key fact is coached under Rob Broadway. I mean, see, this is what I want to see right here. That right there, that's the pedigree. When you see that coached under Rob Broadway, that's the pedigree that lets you know, oh, he's been schooled the right way.
2nd down, and Richard still on his feet and able to get some positive yards on that pickup. Good for 4.
And one of the things when I watch North Carolina Central offensively, they don't necessarily use the short passing game. They like to have those extended routes, 10, 12-yard routes. So when you've got pressure coming at your face and a freshman quarterback, he needs time to read the coverages. Anytime the receivers run further downfield, you need more time. And right now, the offensive line has not been able to provide that for Richard.
3rd and a dozen for the Eagles. Richard has time, delivers a strike to Tyler Barnes, and that's good enough to move the chains. Well, you see right there an early indication of just what Richard can bring as quarterback.
Yeah, when you protect him, look, nice clean pocket. He settles, makes up his mind, locates the receiver, and throws an absolute strike in stride for the first down completion. As an offensive lineman, you have to know, if I protect my quarterback, he can hurt downfield.
The handoff and just running behind some pads is Isaiah Totten, stopped by Vernon Walker, the transfer out of Middle Tennessee State.
He takes it out to the 41, a pickup of 2.
Well, Totten, who didn't get a ton of carries last week, a number of different running backs have helped him in the backfield by committee. Only picked up 35 yards in that loss to Florida A&M. Richard with time. Once again, finds his man, Ryan McDaniel. And McDaniel is one of those big receivers on the outside, the junior out of Sugar Land, Texas, that Trey Oliver says, look, we've got some skilled guys out on the outside who can hurt you in a number of different ways.
They're tall and they're long and they can run, and that's a good job of reading the coverage, getting the ball to Ryan McDaniel, 6'2", 215-pound wide receiver.
And after a slow start on that first drive, again, this drive continues as Isaiah Totten trying to put on a little excitement there. That's a good run on first down.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
You saw
little,
we're talking about that? Mm-hmm. It's that extra little wiggle that he has, the ability to change directions on a dime and make defenders miss. If they can get some more of that going tonight, that'll really help out the young freshman quarterback.
And out in a dangerous pass as Richard was feeling pressure up front. Tony
that
Bowman.
Ball's live.
And that's a live ball. And they say, now we hear the whistle. And Bethune-Cookman gets the ball. No indication is.
And they did it the right way, the officials. If it's close, then let replay overturn the call. But if you're North Carolina Central, you have to hustle and get on this football. See, and right there, you never double clutch on that play there. Let's see, is that ball a lateral? Let's see.
Okay.
He's about on the 41, 46-yard line. 41. That play's going to stand. That's a lateral. I believe that is a lateral.
Well, you have to credit Tony Bowman for bringing that pressure. And we'll step aside really quickly as they'll take a look at this and see what that final call is. But as of now, Bethune-Cookman has the ball. Well, Terry Sims' defense creating havoc, but it looks like we'll get the call from Rick Warren as to, does the play stand or is it a return? We'll hear from him, and he's at midfield.
After review, the ruling on the field is changed. The quarterback threw the ball from the 39-yard line. It was touched at the 40-yard line. By rule, it's an incomplete pass. Second down. Timer. Please reset the game clock to 10:01.
I don't see that.
Jay, you and I were debating in the booth, and I'll say this. It looked like it was a forward pass.
He was on the 40 when he released the ball. Looks like the ball was lateral down the line. And here's the look I see right here. We're going to freeze it right at the top, right there. You see, when he makes contact, he's standing on the 40. He reaches a yard back to get the football. I definitely didn't think there was enough to overturn or change the decision. Little home field advantage there in that case.
Calls going the way of the Eagles as Totten on the carry and nowhere to go. Jerome Howard stuffing him in the middle, the junior out of Sarasota. No pickup there, brings up third down.
And you see what they're trying to do. You mentioned earlier, Totten didn't get a lot of carries a week ago. They lost. Get Totten the rock. If he's your best offensive player, I think it's the duty of offensive coordinator Moses Ware to force feed him early and see if Totten can help out the young freshman quarterback.
12th play of the drive for the Eagles. Richard surveying the field and almost caught but dropped right there by Ryan McDaniel. McDaniel had it in his hands and couldn't hold on to it.
Yeah. I hope I don't have to keep saying this all night, but when you have a freshman quarterback, the seniors and the juniors, the veterans, they have to step up. And this is a perfectly thrown ball. He thread the needle on that. And I'm the old school. You get two hands on the football, you're supposed to come away with a catch. But you see what I'm talking about? Richard got a little fire in that on him. He can let it fly.
So Tyree Spain at the 10-yard line as the Eagles have to settle for a punt. Fair caught. And we'll see the Bethune-Cookman offense when we return. 9:11 to go in this first quarter.
ESPN College Football is presented by McDonald's and in part by Allstate, reminding you that football season is mayhem.
Beautiful look on the campus of NCCU, and that was the Greek Bowl. All the Divine Nine like to gather on the yard as Lakevius Williams and the Wildcats offense get things going. Isaac Washington on the carry, wrapped up very quickly by a number of black jerseys. Just a pickup of 2. Williams, the 5th-year senior out of Madison, Florida, coming off a 3-touchdown performance last week in that win over Morgan State.
It had been a little bit of a disappointing year for Williams, but now finally starting to play his best football. Keep in mind now, he was injured most of last season, so he missed the last 7 games of the regular season. So he was eager to get back on the field, might have been pressing a little bit. Now he's settling down and starting to become that dual threat quarterback that we know.
Rebounding off a season-ending knee injury. And he's bringing pressure from Darius Royster. Royster is that dude. 5 sacks on the season, leading the way in the MEAC.
Yeah, preseason all-conference selection. You have to know where he is. Anytime you're going to drop your quarterback back. So you see Royster do a good job of just attacking the quarterback, locating him, bringing him down. Not an easy job, but a great play by Royster.
Royster out of Chesapeake, Virginia. And he has been all over the field, bringing that pressure up front. And his coaches believe he's one of the top D linemen in the conference. 14 sacks overall for this NCCU defense. Williams flanked out, finds his man, Jonathan Thomas, a sure target for him. Not much pickup on that one. And that brings up 4th down.
You just have the feeling that this is going to be another one of those classic Bethune-Cookman versus North Carolina Central games. It's going to go down to the wire because they both like to be physical football teams. When they're both rolling, they're very physical. We know from Terry Sims, he keeps a fast physical team down there in Daytona Beach every year. And North Carolina Central has been one of the few teams we've seen that has been able to match the intensity or the physicality of Bethune-Cookman on an annual basis.
They always come down to the wire, but the Eagles looking for their first win against Bethune-Cookman in Durham. Bryce Coward on the punt back to receive as Brandon Codrington, and Codrington has a little room, and he's just past the 25-yard line. I'll tell you this. 34 yards on the punt, 19-yard return. Great field position for North Carolina Central. They had their opportunity first go round, aided by that penalty. They weren't able to walk away with points, but Jay, here, you got to be feeling good based on what you saw from Davius Richard in that first drive.
It doesn't seem like the moment's too big for him. He needs to be a little bit more decisive with his decisions, though, when he faces pressure. He tries to improvise a little bit too much. Run the system. If it's not there, you have to learn as a young quarterback, throw it away and live for the next play. I think Central, you have to score. I mean, you've got the ball this part of the field for the second time.
5-yard penalty, first down.
You know, Bethune-Cookman is the favorite in this game, so you have to score in this situation. You cannot dominate the way they have the time of possession in the first quarter and not have any points to show for it.
One of the areas that they have to clean up is penalties. And 18 last week, 3 already today. And Jordan Freeman on the carry, wrapped up by Devontae Lawrence.
Yeah, it's getting chippy down there early. These two teams play a physical brand of football. Now, I'd like to see them try and maybe take a deep shot with one of end zone shot with one of those taller wide receivers that they've got. We talked about 6'4", 6'3", 6'2" wide receivers on the field at once. Use those big bodies.
Number 15, Ryan McDaniel, one of those big bodies with the top of your screen. Instead, the handoff to Jordan Freeman, and Freeman picks up a couple brought down by Trevor Merritt. Well, again, running back by committee. That's what we're starting to see from this North Carolina Central offense. 5 carries in that first drive for Isaiah Totten. This time they're going with Jordan Freeman, redshirt junior out of Charlotte.
Man-to-man coverage across the board. They're going to bring pressure on the freshman.
3rd and 9 as Richard looks to the sideline, gets the call.
Good job. See that right there? He made him check out of it. So he recognized it, went to the sideline, and now he's got zone coverage.
3 receivers to the bottom of the screen, and he able to toss it away and broken up. Good defense there as Amari Hill-Robinson was in on the stop. The true freshman out of Fort Lauderdale, who has won that starting spot this week.
Nice break on the ball. You know, you have this much time here. Somebody has to be open. But he tries to make a freshman mistake, go from one side of the field all the way across to the other side of the field. That's too late. Very fortunate that ball wasn't intercepted.
A 40-yard field goal attempt for Adrian Olivo, true freshman out of Plant City, Florida. And this one is low and no good. So once more, North Carolina Central unable to walk away with points.
Wasted opportunity. Get the ball in great range early on, and that kick never had a chance. We're still tied.
ESPN College Football is presented by McDonald's and in part by Allstate, reminding you that football season is mayhem.
Talk about the student section. Like, one time for North Carolina Central getting litty on this Thursday night. Jay Walker, Tiffany Green here with you.
Spell Liddy.
L-I-T-T-Y.
Liddy.
Liddy. Like, okay,
I'm old.
you've heard
I'm old.
lit?
Yeah.
Like lit, like on fire?
Okay.
Okay. Work with me now. Come on. Get up with the times as Akevius Williams takes the snap, and he's their leading rusher, and he gets past the 40-yard line. Akevius Williams already with 376 yards on the ground this season, add another 19.
And you see, it was a quick decision right there. Call quarterback draw, decides not to run in the middle, sees daylight to the outside, and explodes for the first down.
5 touchdowns in the last 3 games for Williams. The handoff to Quayshawn Bird. Bird bottled up by Khalid Blunt. Blunt, the redshirt junior out of Washington. If you hear that last name, Blunt, he is the son of former Pro Football Hall of Famer Mel Blunt.
So that means he must be the brother of former Florida A&M linebacker Akil Blunt.
Akil Blunt. We go with that Blunt family thing. One more time, Jabri, his brother, part of the basketball team here at North Carolina Central. 2nd and 9. Williams able to get it off and just dropped, as it looked like Blunt may have gotten a hand on that one. So credit Blunt with the PBU. Now 3rd and 9. When you run down that family tree, that's quite impressive, but I think Jabri has a little bragging rights because he was a part of that 2019 MEAC championship team.
Can't forget that Mel Blunt went to an HBCU as well.
Southern University
grad.
Williams is wrapped up by Darius Royster.
And you see that penetration. That's coming from his defensive line position, opposite field. Chase down the runner all the way to the opposite sideline just to secure that they wouldn't pick up the first down. It's those type of plays right there that they show up as just a tackle, but they're pure motivation and energy and hustle.
So far, this North Carolina Central defense hasn't allowed the Wildcats to get going on offense. Bryce Coward back to punt. Codrington back to receive it. Inside the 20, comes up just a little bit. Got good space on the left side. Pauses a little bit. Well, Saturday, this is a big one in the Big Ten with number 10, Penn State, taking on 17th ranked Iowa at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City, 7:30 Eastern on ABC and the ESPN app. The Nittany Lions have won the last 5 against the Hawkeyes, dating back to 2011.
James Franklin has the Nittany Lions playing great football. I think they really got America's attention when they just completely smashed the Maryland Terrapins, who were one of the hottest teams to start off the season.
In the backfield, third running back we've seen in this game. This time it's Latrell Collier, wrapped up by Devin James.
That's Mookie.
Well, they call him Mookie. They like to call him Mookie.
I said, what do we call him? He said, we only know him by Mookie. And we were talking to some of the other running backs. They were like, yeah, we didn't even know his first name until somebody said it by accident.
Well, see, now his mama named him Latrell, so I got to at least call him Latrell the first time around. Then it's Mookie from here on out. Flank to the left of Richard. And he gets it out to big number 80 on the outside. Darius Buchanan, their tight end, true freshman out of Washington, D.C. Marquise Hendricks in on the tackle, pickup of 8.
And Richard showed the toughness there, took a shot. Anytime as a quarterback you're rolling out to your left, you have to expose yourself with your release. He got hit but still delivered an accurate pass to pick up some positive yards and make it 3rd and short.
1 to go for the Eagles. The handoff to Mookie Collier, and Collier right up the middle and dragging a number of Wildcats with him. Across midfield, that's good for 11.
Right here, 3rd and short, and you'll see Collier just take 1 step. Nice job of clearing it out there by the center, Robert Mitchell, clearing the hole along with Jesse Urbina. 1st down for the Eagles.
And they say that Collier has been a pleasant surprise in the backfield for this team. Play action and just off the hands of Xavier McCoy, number 5. On the coverage was Henry Miller.
And one thing about Richard, he's got a strong arm, but he's got a pretty quick release. Like, when he decides to pull the trigger, it gets out in a hurry. That's something you can, you either have it or you don't, but I mean, he lets it go. That ball should have been caught. That's another ball that he threw on the money that I believe his wide receiver should have caught.
2 minutes to go in this first quarter. Still scoreless here from Durham. The handoff, and not fooled at all, was Tony Bowman, who has been active early on, number 91 in white. He has been all over the place. A tackle for loss of 4.
When you play against the Bethune-Cookman defense, normally their front 7, meaning their defensive linemen and linebackers, are going to be better than yours. So you can't make a living running the football against Bethune-Cookman. That's why I like the idea of having the freshman quarterback come out and throw the football a lot to loosen them up. But I don't know if the offensive line for North Carolina Central can match the intensity of this pressure.
Richard standing in the pocket, dumps it down to Freeman, and Freeman in space, but collapsing really quickly for the linebackers, Devin James and Ontario Johnson.
It's minor, but that's good quarterbacking by Richard. Didn't take the sack, the little check down, and got the ball to Freeman, and Freeman was able to pick up some more yardage there. It's little things like that that lets me know this kid knows how to play the quarterback position. He's been well schooled when he was down there from Florida in high school. His future's very bright.
Well, they like to call him Pee-wee, since we're throwing out nicknames, Jay.
I just don't know about a quarterback named Pee-wee.
Well, you stood next to him yesterday. I mean, he's all of 6'3".
He's got good size. Like a running back, you can be a Mookie, but a quarterback is a Pee-wee. I don't know.
Well, Bethune-Cookman, who finished 2nd in the MEAC last year, they're looking to make a run and vie for the crown. They'll have to knock off North Carolina A&T, but they really controlled their destiny, and they have gotten it done after under 5th-year head man Terry Sims.
Yeah, he put it together. The expectations now that he's brought to the program are so high. It's either Celebration Bowl or bust for them. 24-9 in the conference. There are a lot of teams that would die to have that type of success. But Sims, underrated in the coaching radar, does a good job, and more importantly for Wildcat fans, they knocked off Florida A&M for the past 7 years, right?
It's 8.
8.
Got to be accurate. Isaac Washington on the carry. Why you got to bring that kind of stuff up, Jay?
Well, that was a signature game, I thought, for Bethune-Cookman in terms of what they did and established, because the talk of the season last year around this time was Florida A&M football, the Millennium. And Bethune-Cookman, just like in true Terry Sims fashion, took on his personality, said, "Oh, we're going to be there in Orlando last week of the season. You can count on that." And they handled their business.
Final play of the first quarter. This one tall, and Robinson able to bring it in. Just his first catch of the ball game, and it's good for one. We'll step aside. Second quarter action coming your way from Durham. Welcome back to ESPN College Football presented by McDonald's. Well, Miss Gold is in the stand. I'm checking out. Where's Miss Maroon? Maroon and gold. You see what I did there? Okay. Bethune-Cookman, founded in 1904 by Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. They have an outstanding hospitality program among other majors there. And you were down in Daytona Beach last weekend. I know you always enjoy yourself down that way.
It's Florida. Florida during the almost winter time there, but the football legends, you know, Rasheem Mathis, you know, I had on my list as the greatest Wildcat player of all time for Bethune-Cookman.
You didn't put Larry Little there.
Larry Little was number 2. Rasheem Mathis won the Buck Buchanan Award. He was a career leader, FCS career leader in all-time interceptions. So I thought it was Mathis.
Rasheem Mathis trumped a Pro Football Hall of Famer, the only one. Remember, Larry Little played with Miami Dolphins.
Mathis may end up in the NFL Hall of Fame. He had a stellar career there. But
nice pass as Teron Mallard was wide open. The big number 13 out of New Bern, North Carolina. A bit of a homecoming for him, as he's been active in their offense this season.
And you know this play is coming. I mean, this is a staple in there. They fake the dive, and he gets wide open every time. And I've seen teams practice it over and over again. Give credit to offensive coordinator Alan Suber when he chooses to call that play, because most times it's very effective.
Mallard with more than 100 yards on the season to go along with a touchdown. Williams decides to hold on to it. Not a good decision, as Darius Royster and Cyrus Standback were staring him right in the face.
Royster came to play.
Yep.
You know, that's what you expect from your fifth-year senior, playing on national TV, conference game. North Carolina Central cannot afford to drop another one in conference if they realistically want to have a chance. And you'll see him just playing assignment football, making the open field tackle on Williams. Second
sack of the night for Darius Royster. Already in conversation, maybe defensive player of the year. Maybe he could be in contention. 2nd and 11. Williams pushed out the pocket, too tall, almost caught by Tyree Spain, and then went through the hands of Darryl Powell.
And I'm a little surprised they haven't tried the bubble screen to Jimmy Robinson or the jet sweep to Jimmy Robinson. And he's their go-to guy that can make it happen. And he's starting to get one-on-one coverage. Maybe they're trying to lull him to sleep, but I'm forcing the ball in the hands of Jimmy Robinson on a 2nd and 10. Now when it becomes 3rd 10, obvious pass situation, you have to be creative. And I'm still looking this way first.
Bethune-Cookman yet to convert on 3rd down tonight. Jimmy Robinson lining up in the slot to the bottom of your screen. He's wide open. They go for it. Akevius Williams puts it on a dime, and a great defensive play to just push him out of bounds. That was Romeo Stansel.
You need a better throw from Williams, though. That ball hung in the air for a long time. Look how long Robinson's open. He's open. Get it to him. Stick it to him. Put it on him. He put too much air underneath it. It allowed Stansel to come back in and dislodge him from the football. That ball's hanging there. That's a missed opportunity for a big play from Bethune-Cookman.
Well, you had just said it. Where's Jimmy Robinson? When are you going to get the ball to him? There they had their opportunity and just missed out. The Aussie punter, Bryce Coward, boots it away. Not a good punt, as this one bounces just around the 22 yards on the punt. We're North Carolina Central, founded in 1910. Number of notable alumni I like to circle there, but I can't on my screen. Maynard Jackson, the former mayor of Atlanta. If you go through Atlanta, Hartsfield Jackson International Airport.
I did not know he went to North Carolina Central. Did not know that. I know Sam Jones, basketball Hall of Famer, Boston Celtic great. Herman Boone, that was a coach from Remember the Titans.
Yeah. And Richard just trying to get some blockers up ahead. Picks up a few. Well, Davius Richard is the fourth-string quarterback, if you can believe it. Had a number of quarterbacks go out throughout the season.
Lucky they didn't get called for a holding penalty there. But when you talk about Richard being fourth string, those days are over.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to come get this job from him. And if he continues to learn and grow the rate he is.
But the idea is they came into the season, it was Micah Zanders and Chauncey Caldwell. Zanders goes down with injury. Caldwell enters the transfer portal, and here it is. Davius Richard is stepping up in a major way, finds Ryan McDaniel, pick up a 13, moves the chains. And you see Eddie Yearby, also one of those quarterbacks they were expecting to see this season. He blew out his knee early on. And so it's Richard who is the man, and Travis Griffin as his backup.
And then let's not forget Chauncey Caldwell was injured a season ago. Last year, he was injured. So they've had trouble protecting their quarterback here, and I think that has to be a priority now for offensive coordinator Moses Ware. Start protection first, then you can expand to the other supplemental pieces. Get rid of it.
Play action finds McDaniel. McDaniel able to try to get back just across the line of scrimmage. Picks up 3 on that one. Devontae Lawrence was right there.
Yeah, but I still don't like the decision to throw the ball, and I'm rarely going to say that against a completed pass. But he made up his mind that he was going to pull the ball from the belly and try and hit the pop pass. Pop pass wasn't there, then you throw the ball out of bounds. Fortunate that defensive back wasn't waiting out there throwing the ball late to the outside. That's a major no-no for a quarterback.
And Bethune-Cookman spins a timeout on 3rd and 9. So we'll take a break with them. And we'll see you back in Durham just on the other side.
At ESPNplus.com.
Welcome back to Durham. All knotted at 0, as going for was Davius Richard. He had a step on his man, did Ryan McDaniel, but it was overthrown. Brings up 4th down.
And that's a difference in passers. We saw in the previous possession where Bethune-Cookman had the ball, Williams put too much hang time on his passer, Robinson. Well, here, the young freshman, he made a line drive throw on a throw that needed some air, allowing the wide receiver to possibly run underneath it in stride.
So already John Picaro has been busy, a couple of punts tonight. Once more trying to pin the Wildcats deep. Instead, it bounces into the end zone for a touchback. Just a reminder to our viewers, UFC Fight Night coming your way Saturday on ESPN Plus in my hometown of Tampa from Amalie Arena. Both are looking for a title fight with a win. To order the main card in English and Spanish, go to ESPNplus.com and be sure to download the ESPN app if you're watching on your mobile device. All right, so we've seen a couple of possessions for Bethune-Cookman. What do they need to do here in this drive as they start from the 20?
Get the ball to Jimmy Robinson. I think their 2 best offensive players are their quarterback, Akevius Williams. He's had success running the football, but they're trying to make him a passer again. And if I'm going to pass the ball, I'm going to get the ball to Jimmy Robinson, whether it's a bubble screen, whether it's going downfield. He's a difference maker, and make North Carolina Central show that they can stop your best player.
Williams joined in the backfield with Ladarian Wilson. Wilson, who had the last carry, has been battling a high ankle sprain, but a player that they have been really high on, hopeful for him this season, as Williams finds the matchup right there. Darryl Powell, and couldn't connect.
And Powell has the physical ability to be special. 6'4", 190 pounds, can run with the wind. And that ball was a poorly thrown ball, but a good wide receiver makes that catch.
Now 3rd and 8, and again, you have to wonder, where is Jimmy Robinson in this offense? He's not on the field, and only 1 catch, 1 yard tonight for their most exciting playmaker. Williams tucks it, runs, picks up the 1st down, and breezes out of bounds.
See, when he decides to run, very elusive. I mean, they've got the perfect defense call. They're blitzing them. They've got pressure. Everybody wins, but somebody loses their assignment, and Akevius Williams makes him pay with his legs.
Pick up a 14. Now Robinson back on the field, and the handoff. And now to pick up of a lot as Ladarian Wilson on the carry. Miles Turman bringing them down. 9 starters returning on offense for Bethune-Cookman, but they have yet to again insert Jimmy Robinson into this offense, perhaps the way that we may have expected early on.
And I still think he'll be heard from if they're going to put some points on the scoreboard.
And Wilson just knocked to the side by Arthur Randall, a loss of 2. And look, North Carolina Central, one of those teams last season among the leaders. They were the leaders in tackles for loss. Last year, they're leading the MEAC in that category. Once again, they have come together on defense and made some big plays.
Playing tough and playing physical. And, you know, keep in mind, this is the new coaching staff. So Trey Oliver's just in his 1st year. Feels like, hey, I've analyzed the talent. Now we can go out there and start playing our brand of football.
3rd and 12. And underneath. And a pickup there by Quayshawn Bird, and Bird is really close to that 1st down marker, and they're going to say it's good enough to move the sticks. Pickup of 12. So now, as the defense changes the stat quickly, now there's a flag on the field, and there's Jimmy Robinson. Jimmy Robinson! Oh, baby! Yes!
Defense. That penalty's declined. Result of play.
We knew the penalty has to be too many Eagles on the field. They were running off. There must have been about 15 of them on the field. Not enough to stop Jimmy Robinson. They finally, you think they hurt me?
Yeah.
Get the ball to Jimmy Robinson and just watch what he does. I mean, watch him create. In a small space, accelerates, untouched in the end zone. You're not going to catch him.
And credit Kalen Humphrey with the big block to help spring them as well. 54-yard touchdown catch and run for Jimmy Robinson. He had 3 touchdowns last weekend. He does it again. He strikes here on Thursday night. Seems to bring his biggest games when he's on ESPN. He's doing the darn thing. 7-0 Bethune-Cookman.
Sign up now at espn.com/daily.
Jimmy Robinson receiving congratulations. 4 touchdowns in the last 2 games for the senior out of Palm Coast. He had 3 last week against the Bears, and just then he capped off that 7-play, 80-yard drive to put the Wildcats on the board. It's first 7 points we've seen of the game, and it's always like, give me some Jimmy when you're watching Bethune-Cookman.
Give me some Jimmy. I like that because I was begging for it. I knew what he could do when he has the football in his hands, and they finally got him the football. And he doesn't need a lot of touches to make something big happen. He's not a guy that's going to catch 10 balls for 70 yards. He's a guy that's going to catch 2 balls for 150 yards. So get him the ball, that big play potential. He's got a special talent.
Xavier McDonald on the kickoff and bobbled by Jordan Freeman, and Freeman able to pick it up. They were lucky to get away with that one, as Jordan Freeman couldn't hold on to it on the reception.
So, just drifting, wow, just right in the breadbasket. Very fortunate, took a lucky hop, and he was able to recover. Because that could have been disastrous.
So I asked you, what does Bethune-Cookman do on offense? I'll pose that same question to you here as you see 3 punts and a missed field goal for the Eagles offense.
I think you trust your quarterback and you have your offensive line protect. And he can be a difference maker. In this conference, you give me a quarterback that can throw the football and has a weapon, you can make a difference. You know, Bethune-Cookman, they're not going to sophisticate things with their pass secondary. So there'll be some throwing lanes there. It's just a matter of, can you protect them? And if so, he shows he's got the ability to throw strikes.
9-yard completion to Deshaun Stevens, who's been a security blanket for the young quarterback. The handoff, and really nowhere to go for Isaiah Totten.
And I would think, I want to get Totten involved in the passing game a little bit more. I mean, he's a 3-down back. So when you waste a play like that against Bethune-Cookman, it's hard to have those wasted plays. You have to take advantage of 2nd and short and maybe go for the downfield chop. Now it's 3rd and 1, kind of an obvious run situation. Let's see if they have the muscle to get the job done.
And Richard, low throw, but able to be brought in by Ryan McDaniel. So a 1st down, and Ryan McDaniel has been a favorite target of Richard tonight.
Good job. He dropped one earlier, and that's a great job of helping out a young quarterback. Ball was low, but the big wide receiver went down and made the catch.
And that one was just blown up from the start. Tydarius Peters was all up in the backfield.
Get a little bit frustrated and just feel that Bethune-Cookman defensively is starting to get a beat on the play calling selection. Timed up a run, stop, and blitz. Tackle for a loss behind the line of scrimmage.
And we said Totten was one of those guys that needed to get going for the Eagles. 9 carries, 14 yards. It's like the defense has gotten a beat on him for sure. Going for it, wide open, finds his man. That's Deshaun Stevens, and Stevens across the 30-yard line, and a big play for the Eagles offense.
Another one of those big wide receivers. Stevens, 6'2", 210 pounds on the outside. And actually saw number 30, the freshman cornerback, Amari Hill Robinson, peeking in the backfield, not sticking with his assignment, giving up the big play.
Here's Totten. Totten for a gain of a couple. But you go back to that 40-yard reception, the longest play from scrimmage tonight for the Eagles. More importantly, trying to take those shots.
Yeah, they protect them and use these big wide receivers we talked about. I don't know how effective the running game will be early on until you wear them down. But you've got big targets. The quarterback doesn't seem to be playing nervous or scared. I continue to ride his right arm.
Richard rolling to his right, and he can't smell that defense coming from the back as Ontario Johnson almost ran him down, but Richard was able to get it away.
Yeah, you wondered how much longer he was going to hold on to this football. Unblocked linebacker coming from the outside. Just got rid of the ball in the nick of time.
Ontario Johnson, one of those last chance you guys, and boy, he's got a high motor. He is one of those guys you are always checking for when he's on the field, because he just pushes you. He brings the pressure from wherever he's standing. Richard gets the ball quickly out of his hand underneath. It's Stevens. Stevens, the Durham native, brought down by Devontae Lawrence. So now 4th down and decision time. What do you do here? Remember, you missed a field goal earlier, and again, they're trotting Olivo back onto the field.
If you have faith in your field goal kicker that he can make it in this situation, absolutely. You take the points, get on the scoreboard.
38-yard field goal attempt and a timeout taken by North Carolina Central. When we talk with Trey Oliver, he said, you know, I have a lot of faith in my kicker, given the fact that he's been a reliable leg for us throughout the season. But back in the first quarter, he couldn't connect here.
And that was just a shank. There was some penetration coming from the middle, but he just shanked that one there. But give credit to Oliver. He's practicing what he preached. Says he has faith in him. Well, he's going to give him an opportunity to go back out there and redeem himself. Those kickers, they can be a little quirky. You get a freshman kicker playing his first game on national TV, national audience, pressure coming.
But don't you remember double overtime in Daytona Beach last year? It came down to special teams and the kickers, and it was Bethune-Cookman that prevailed. Yep. 38-yard attempt for Olivo. This time, it's up and good. So 3 points on the board. They walk away, and that reliable leg comes through for the Eagles. They trail here in the second. It's time to let go. Back here in Durham, North Carolina, Jay Walker, Tiffany Green here with you. A 7-3 score with 4:24 remaining in this first half, and now things starting to pick up in the second quarter, but we continue to talk about just how these two teams play each other so closely. As we mentioned in the open, it's come down to the wire for these groups, and it feels like maybe we are in store for something like that once again. A short kick there, and we'll see who was able to get on top of it, and it's Bethune-Cookman able to get there, so they start with good field possession as Quayshawn Bird was able to fall on top of it. We go back to last year at Daytona Memorial Stadium and in double overtime. How about the kicker, Uriel Hernandez, putting Bethune up, but they were trading shots back and forth, and here it was, the block kick, and Bethune-Cookman able to prevail 28-25 in double overtime. And look, that was huge because it helped propel them for the rest of the season, even though that was late in the year. That was a big win for the Wildcats. Keep that momentum going.
And I remember about that game, Hernandez, the kicker, he missed two earlier in the game. And when he made the third one, he acted like, hey, that's what I do. I mean, he was a kicker with an attitude, always fun to watch. How about Royston, though? I mean, is he coming to play or what tonight?
Oh, yeah.
He's always around the ball, and he's winning that matchup over there on that left side versus Nicholas Ruse.
And quickly out and finds Tyrese Spain. Spain, who has been one of the more consistent receivers. They had a great spring, came into camp really strong as well, picked up 8 there.
And he can be a good complimentary receiver, but that go-to receiver is number one down there in the slot.
Just trying to throw everybody off on the direct snap to Isaac Washington, and that one didn't go anywhere.
No, it didn't work. You can see Williams act like he's looking to the sideline to get a play. That's a motion. And good job by North Carolina Central defensive line, not falling for the okie doke.
Another 3 and out for the Wildcats. I'll tell you, again, Central's defense has been holding on pretty tight, and outside of that touchdown reception from Jimmy Robinson, they've played good defense. Codrington on the return, 35-yard punt. Return of about 3 will step aside here in Durham. We'll hope to see you on the other side.
800-630-5203. That's 800-630-5203.
It's been an interesting return for Trey Oliver as he's back at his alma mater. Was here as a player, then also returned as an assistant. But you go back to his playing days from 94 to 97. He was an all-conference safety, and then how about a punter as well? That's a rare combination, right, Jay?
Well, you got to know the history a little bit. This is when North Carolina Central was a Division II school. So when you're Division II, less scholarships to give out. Finding a good Division II punter, that's like finding a unicorn. That's hard to do. So he had to get it done by any means necessary. But it just tells you about the football IQ he has and what he brings to the table. I think he's at that point where he wants his football team to match his love for the game that's been so good to him, particularly here at his alma mater.
Third alumnus to come back as a head coach here at North Carolina Central. Herman Riddick and Bishop Harris did it before Trey Oliver. Richard finds a man in the seam. E.J. Hicks, first time he's been targeted tonight. Just near the 45-yard line, a pickup of 20, so under 2 to go in this first half.
Under duress. You know, a good quarterback knows a quarterback, and there was a lot of pressure there, and Richard couldn't even step into that throw, but still delivered a strike down the field.
Fraction. Offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty. First down.
So they were trying to move quickly, and then a false start from the center.
Move the ball back to the 40-yard line. It'll be first and 15.
And clock continuing to run here now, first and 15. Fourth false start for this group. Right in and out of the hands once more of an Eagles receiver. We've seen a number of drops tonight, Jay.
Yeah, I think North Carolina Central needs to go invest in a jugs machine because he's throwing dimes. I mean, those are hard. Yes, they're hard thrown passes, but you're a wide receiver on the college level. You're expected to make that catch. And that's just lack of concentration there in that capacity, or maybe not believing that the ball's going to come to you.
Bobbles the snap, picks it up. Able to gather himself, elude pressure, gets rid of it. And bringing the pressure was Jerome Howard. Howard was all in Richard's face.
Low snap throws off the timing of the play. And once again, fortunate, able to get away from a sack. Get the ball out of his hands to just make it an incompletion.
See the numbers tonight for Richard, 12 of 20 for 140 yards. One area that the Eagles want to do is execute on third down, and Totten. Rather, that's Jordan Freeman shredding a couple of defenders. Marquise Hendricks able to finally bring them down, and it brings up fourth down.
And I would keep the offense out there to look like I'm going for it, then call a timeout and punt. Because if you're Bethune-Cookman and you see the punt team come out right away, then you call a timeout. See, now I'm calling a timeout. I need those 20 seconds that we're about to let go off the clock. Those are the little things in the chess match there that you can win.
Instead, Terry Sims allows the clock continue to wind down. And this one could be inside and just near the goal line, and a great special teams play.
I want to see this because the NFL rule is a lot different than the college football rule. That is a touchback.
Yeah.
So although in college football, if the ball crosses the line, it's in the end zone. In the pro rule, you can go in there, grab it, toss it back as long as you're not there.
Just a reminder to our viewers, coming up at the half, we'll have power rankings along with Give Me 5, the best players in the MEAC, plus highlights and stats. I'll tell you, you got everybody talking a couple of weeks ago with your HBCU power rankings, and they continue to chime in week and week out, Jay.
All right, it's called Jay's.
Is that why you had them put on the graphic?
Yeah,
Jay's HBCU
power rankings, okay? Not the fans' power ranking. I think I know what school you're talking about.
I don't know. Quayshawn Bird on the carry up the middle, and likely the last play of the first half. A 7-3 ball game here from Durham, and an important MEAC game for both teams. Bethune-Cookman looking to remain perfect in the conference, coming in at 2-0, and they have the lead here in the first half. Your quick thoughts on that first half of play?
Both defenses we knew would show up and kind of dictate this game, but just a little bit surprised that Bethune-Cookman is still struggling on offense at this point of the season.
Halftime coming back. When you come back, 7-3 Bethune-Cookman with the lead.
The Mirror and you.
Welcome back to O'Kelly Riddick Stadium on the campus of North Carolina Central University. We're at the half as we say hello and welcome in with Jay Walker, Tiffany Green, and this is what we like to call
Give Me Five. Give the people what they want. And it's that time of year where somebody's got to join me, Tiff. They got to be like the MEAC Offensive Player of the Year like I was, that tall, light-skinned guy there you see throwing darts. So here are my top candidates for MEAC Offensive Player of the Year. Let's start off at number 5, Elijah Bell. I'm going with the productivity he's had during his career. All-time leader in receptions at North Carolina A&T. He's been a key reason why I've got him coming in at number 5 right now for MEAC Offensive Player of the Year candidates. Number 4, we got to stick with the wide receivers now. A lot of things have gone bad at Howard University. We know that. But the one thing that's been phenomenal has been the play of wide receiver Kyle Anthony, an NFL prospect. Although the Bison are struggling, he's the one remaining piece that's Mr. Excitement up in Washington, D.C.
It seems like you're falling in love with that wide receiver position. We had a chance to see Jimmy Robinson already today. Could he maybe creep up on that list?
You must be reading my mind, because number 3 is the guy I like to call Big Play Jimmy Robinson for Bethune-Cookman. He's just phenomenal. Every time you see him on the football field, you have the feeling that something special is going to happen if you get the ball in his hands. And I think people are starting to notice what an impact player that Jimmy Robinson is for the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Number 2, come on, Tiff. You know me. Got to have a quarterback on the list.
Sunshine.
Everybody likes a quarterback, and for Florida A&M, they've got the all-time leading passer in the history of the school at quarterback, Ryan Staley. Big reason why the Rattlers are contenders once again in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. Congratulations to Ryan Staley for a fantastic career at Florida A&M.
All right, so now that we have our big 4 in the box, who's coming in at that strong number 1 position?
Strong number 1, not just in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, but we're talking about in all of FCS football. And that man is Jermaine Martin, running back from North Carolina A&T. At this point, he's averaging almost 10 yards per carry. He's leading the nation in rushing yards. So you got a guy like Jermaine Martin. He's becoming bigger than the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. He's almost a shoe-in for the Offensive Player of the Year in the conference, but I think he's got an opportunity to win the Walter Payton Award, which is given to the best player in all of FCS football.
Now, I know you like to fall in love with the offensive player, but can we do some defense, some love?
There you go. Rico Kennedy, Morgan State. It would have been Brian Cavalcante, but the Hornets have been taken on the chin. I like the motor that Rico Kennedy's doing for Tyrone Wheatley at Morgan State University. But that's my list. That's Jay's Give Me 5. You want to talk about it? Hit us up on any of our social media platforms, particularly at Black College Live.
We'll be back with more from Durham. We'll see you on the other side.
The NCAA's consent is prohibited.
The NCCU Sound Machine, making you want to do a little two-step here in O'Kelly Riddick Stadium from the Bull City at half. 7-3 Bethune-Cookman leads as we welcome you back inside the booth. Jay Walker, Tiffany Green, and Jay, this is a big weekend. We said that at the start of this broadcast.
You think that band make my top 5 band rankings? That's coming out soon. Hint, hint. But let's go football. Halftime, I'm thinking about the band.
That in there. Okay, so we'll check out your band rankings. But first, let's look at this weekend. Several big matchups. In the MEAC, though, you have to key in on Orangeburg, South Carolina, as Florida A&M travels to South Carolina State.
Yeah, the surprising team of the conference this year has been South Carolina State University. Impressive victory over a ranked Wofford team earlier in the season. And down at Florida A&M, they were the talk of the Youngstown last year. They're trying to prove they're still around. So everybody wants to know, you got Ryan Stanley, the quarterback, going to become the all-time leading passer. Look at that history there. Buddy Pugh wins, then that means he will become the winningest coach in the history of South Carolina State football. That's impressive. And Tyrese Nick, he's starting to come on. The quarterback for them, dual threat passer, coming off his best game ever as a Bulldog. Florida A&M going on the road. Jay's going to be there. Tip's going to be there in the house. It's going to be a showdown in Orangeburg, South Carolina.
So I'm curious to know, just in your opinion, like the key matchup for the weekend.
Can they protect Ryan Stanley? If you protect Ryan Stanley, the quarterback for Florida A&M, he's a killer. He can hurt you. I think the defensive line for South Carolina State may be the difference.
All right, so the question is, will we then see a couple of these teams in our HBCU power rankings? This according to our Jay Walker. Give it to us.
Hey, like I said, it's Jay's power rankings. We know that, right? South Carolina State talked about them. They probably wouldn't have made my top 10 to start the season, but they're playing very well, and I want to see. We're going down there to check them out. Buddy Pugh, when you put his back against the wall, like a true coach, he finds a way to get back in the loop. In South Carolina State, they got a good young team that could compete for the Mideast Athletic Championship. It's going to be a tough fight, though, but I look forward to seeing them.
All right, coming in at number 4, Southern. I know they are making a push to take not only the SWAC West, but also get another shot at the SWAC Championship.
And Southern dropped the spot. You know, I had them number 3 at the beginning of the year, but they took a loss, and it was a loss down at Florida A&M. They lost that game, so Southern drops number 4. I still think if you want to make it to the SWAC Championship game, Southern's going to be a team that we're going to hear from. They got a good one, Dawson Odoms. Now they're getting into conference play. They've got a skeleton quarterback doing some special things. So Southern comes in at my number 4. They're holding on. They need to come up with a quality victory.
They do have a big game against Prairie View A&M this weekend. And number 3, we're getting a chance to see him tonight, Bethune-Cookman.
I mean, I keep saying Bethune's going to get it together. They're going to start playing like the number 3 team out there in the country, HBCU landscape. Haven't seen it yet. Telling you what, if Prairie View A&M beats Southern in the matchup they have this weekend, I may jump Bethune-Cookman with Prairie View. I thought that Prairie View team was really good. They just took that loss versus our number 2 team, which is Alcorn State University. Fred McNair, he's got the Braves playing. I mean, they're getting it done, competitive, and they're winning games the way they're supposed to. When you're going to be ranked this high, you're supposed to eliminate hope. And they really put a beat down on Alabama State this past weekend. I think Alcorn's got it going. 2
quarterbacks.
2 of them.
2 of them.
They lose Noah Johnson, and Felix Harper steps in, and the beat goes on. And I don't even want to talk about number 1. It's so boring now, right?
Well, it's also in the state of North Carolina, just up the road in Greensboro with the Aggies of North Carolina A&T State University.
We got to be quiet here. You know, the Aggies' rival is North Carolina Central. But here's, I always go back to this. North Carolina Central hates North Carolina A&T. A&T just doesn't like Central. The hatred's not as deep. And right now, North Carolina A&T, the hottest thing in HBCU football. We've said it over and over again. Oh, Tallahassee, will you leave me alone? You're on the bubble, Florida A&M. You're on the bubble. If you
How does an on-the-bubble team not supersede a team that they should surpass?
Just because Vanderbilt upsets Alabama, Vanderbilt does not get ranked higher than Alabama. FAMU, if you want to be in the top 5, knock off the Bulldogs this weekend.
Months. Just your home, the mirror, and you.
I know the fans in Durham enjoyed that halftime performance from the NCCU Sound Machine. 7-3 here at the break. And as we take a look at the first half highlights, really, it was the Eagles defense that was able to rise.
Yeah, they came up and made an impact early, and they were really led by Darius Royster. Royster had 5 tackles in the first half, including 2 tackles for loss. They were able to disrupt this offensive unit from Bethune-Cookman, and really, outside of one big play, pitched a shutout. Impressive performance by the Eagle defense in the first half.
But you did say the difference maker was being able to get that big play from who? Jimmy Robinson.
We talked about him in the open, one of the most exciting football players in college football, especially on this level. You get him the football, he doesn't just hit you, he hurts you. And Jimmy Robinson had the play of the game so far, and that's why Bethune-Cookman is leading 7-3.
When you look at the first half stats, we saw a number of penalties. We mentioned at the start of the broadcast just about how many penalties were racked up, but really kept at bay there, given the fact that these are among two of the most penalized teams in all of FCS. More importantly, that time of possession for North Carolina Central, they're running it at just over 18 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, they're holding on to the football, but they got 3 points to show for it. That's why we say they have to capitalize when they get great field position in the second half.
Bethune-Cookman 3-0 when leading at the half. Come back with us. Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by McDonald's. I'm telling you, all night long, the student section has been keeping me going. And if Bethune-Cookman gets this guy going, Jimmy Robinson, who leads the MEAC in kickoff returns, you better watch out. Averaging nearly 25 yards per return on 17 kickoff attempts. And Robinson, who was able to run it back and take it to the house last year against Central, could he do it again tonight?
I don't know if North Carolina Central can afford to kick off to Jimmy Robinson. You're better off kicking it out of bounds, doing some type of pooch kick.
The pooch kick is on. Robinson still able to collect it, and here he goes. Jimmy Robinson, you give him a little space and he can do a whole lot.
They pooch kick it, and what makes Robinson, it doesn't take much for him to get to 0 to 60 in a hurry.
Yeah.
I mean, watch this. He's got to field it, and then he turns on the jets.
Yep.
Right there, hits the crease, doesn't fall with arm tackles. That's a big-time weapon that head coach Terry Sims has in the form of Jimmy Robinson. And if you thought Jimmy Robinson's a senior, you're done hearing from Jimmy Robinson at Bethune-Cookman. No, no, no. His little brother, Jimmy Robinson, is redshirting this year, so they'll have some Robinsons down in Daytona for years to come.
Isaac Washington, and that was a bad exchange there between Williams and Washington. Steven Stokes was promptly there, a loss of 5, and again, this defense continuing to be right there in the faces of the Wildcats offense.
Yeah, we have to give credit to defensive coordinator Freddie Autry-Lindsay. First-time coordinator here in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, facing a balanced offensive attack, and he's got the Eagles playing inspired football.
Right up the middle, there's Darius Royster, had a hand on him. Williams able to get away, and Williams able to avoid that pressure, but then you just look at the elusiveness of Akevius Williams.
Yeah, he's just slippery, and he's fast. So Royster has him, doesn't bring him down, and you think, okay, just get back to the line of scrimmage. No, not with Akevius Williams. Good enough athlete to pick up 5 yards.
That brings it back to 3rd and 10.
Get it to Jimmy.
Still with time. Flushed out of the pocket once more and brought down quickly by Deontay Fair. Fair, the leader of that defense on the back end. And after that pickup of 3, it's 4th down.
Yeah, they had off coverage on Jimmy Robinson with about a 10 to 15-yard cushion. I'm taking my chances giving him the football. I thought that Williams decided to pull it in too soon and not take the check down with a wide open Jimmy Robinson.
Do you feel like they're being a little too conservative on offense, Jay?
Not conservative. I think they're putting it in Akevius Williams' hands, and he's deciding where he's going with the football, whether or not he's going to run the football, when he's going to pull it. And it just doesn't seem to be on the same page with the offensive coordinator.
5th punt of the night for the Wildcats. And this one, a good one, bouncing just inside the 10-yard line. Well, just a couple of years ago, right here in Durham, back in 2017, it was called the Hail Mary. Bethune! Mary McLeod Bethune has the 48-yard tipped-up pass. And that Hail Mary pass was the final play of the game, a stunning road victory. as the Wildcats walked away with a 13-10 win.
And that game was a week before the Aggie Eagle Classic. It knocked North Carolina Central out of contention for MEAC championship. They thought they had an opportunity to go to back-to-back Celebration Bowls, but that play right there ended their season.
And you see just the difference for this Eagles team. There's a good run there
good tackle by the ref.
Isaiah Totten, and the ref was right there nearby. And the umpire just kind of goes down with Totten to help slow him down. Inadvertently, of course.
Oh, dear, the PA announcer here say tackle by the referee. The umpire.
Hey, shake that off, but have a little fun with it. The handoff once more to Totten.
Let's take a look at the tackle by the official. I'm looking for the form. Let's see. He's there. He's coming up, shoulders down. Oh, tripping. He could be flagged for tripping, too. Even after he avoided contact, he left his feet out there.
I like the way you broke that down, Jay.
It looked like he was coming up for a big hit. I think that Isaiah Totten saw him coming, too, and tried to shift, and then he got tripped.
This has been a steady dose of Isaiah Totten, and Totten near the first down marker. And they'll move the chains.
And those are the type of runs I think they need to make. I think that Bethune-Cookman knows they like to run Totten off tackle and get him involved in the run pass option there. But I think Totten's a good enough runner where if you give him the ball going downhill, straight ahead, not off tackle, he can find a crease.
Tough exchange there for Totten. And Reeves was right there.
But you have to try and wear down this defensive front for Bethune-Cookman.
So far, all runs on this drive for NCCU. Six to go on the play clock. The handoff once again. Bethune-Cookman not fooled. Marquise Hendricks was Johnny on the spot.
Yeah, I'm thinking Bethune-Cookman is winning the chess match. So they're coming up showing you a blitz look, that they're going to bring the pressure. And then the moment you check, they go to a run stop and look. So I think what North Carolina Central has to do is get the blitz look and keep their play on and learn how to attack the blitz that they're seeing.
3rd and 10. Richard going down the middle of the field. And his intended target was Deshaun Stevens. Sam Mark on the coverage. He was the closest to that one. And that'll bring on the punting unit. Well, you saw what they were trying to do in that first drive. Here in the second half, establish the run. Going back to feeding number 25, Isaiah Totten, and establishing the run. And they try to go and take their shot.
This is where the offensive line just hasn't been good enough. I mean, Bethune's not doing anything fancy. Their front four are stopping the run game for North Carolina Central.
37-yard punt, no return. Will come back here to Durham.
Get the #1 live TV streaming service for less at sling.com.
Let's take a look at tonight's Bringing the Flavor, brought to you by McDonald's.
Now that was flavor. That's bringing you the flavor right there. Captured everything you want. You even had the flag girls involved. Flag girl dancing, moving around. Oh, yeah. I like that flavor.
Could you do any of those moves? Jimmy Robinson with the ball in his hands. We got a pause right there, and he's wrapped up very quickly. Several jerseys around him. Romeo Stansill with the tackle.
Get him the ball on first down, though. I like the game plan. Come out, get Jimmy Robinson a touch. They stopped him once. Okay, well, let's see if they can stop him twice. I'd go back to force-feeding the football to Jimmy Robinson. Maybe move him in motion so you can disguise him a little bit.
He's really been the highlight for either offense tonight, that 54-yard touchdown catch. The only touchdown of this ball game is the pass incomplete to Isaac Washington.
You know, I've had friends of mine see him play in person. They're like, have you ever seen this little number 1 for Bethune-Cookman? I'm like, you talking about Jimmy Robinson? Yeah, that's his name. He's good. And believe me, folks, the National Football League's taking notice. But his return skills and big playability to go along with that 4.3 speed, got a chance.
And Terry Sims wanted to litter him all over the field to get him more involved in the offense so that everyone could see more of what he can do, like Akevius Williams, who also has very good speed as well, as a penalty marker comes out at the end of the play.
Akevius Williams on quarterback keeper.
We talk about Williams and the fact that he returned from that season-ending knee injury, but Coach Sims says he's still one of the fastest guys on the team.
Holding. Defense, number 19, 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. Results in first down.
Justin Nicholson called for the hold. Didn't start last week because of a knee injury. Not a lot of experience, but that secondary doesn't have a lot of experience overall. They're young, but they've been able to come up big and have a lot of turnovers and takeaways. That's been a point of emphasis for that group.
Yeah, they're one of the best teams in the country in terms of defensive takeaways. 17 already on the season.
And none tonight. And they thought they had Quayshawn Bird, but it's Akevius Williams with the carry out to near the 30-yard line, pick up a 14, and that moves the chains.
I remember earlier in the game you asked me, what does Bethune-Cookman need to do? And I said at that point, get the ball to Jimmy Robinson and have Akevius Williams run the football. Those are the two best offensive players they have. Throw in a little bit of your tight end Mallard, but I want those two determining the fate of this offense.
Quayshawn Bird, who also has some good speed, but he's wrapped up. Bird brought down. Cyrus Standback, though, bringing the pressure again. You know, that defensive line also getting some penetration up front for NCCU. We talked about Darius Royster, but also Standback. We saw Khalid Blunt make some plays earlier in the game as well.
Yeah, they've been able to frustrate this offensive unit. Doing a good job besides a big play. Said before, they pitched a shutout, but this has been the best drive we've seen from Bethune-Cookman in terms of moving the ball down the field, not relying on the big play.
We advance the ball to the 26-yard line.
Sixth play of the drive coming up. Bethune-Cookman hasn't been able to sustain long drives throughout this ball game. They had a couple of 7-yard drives, and that's it. But this feels perhaps a little different as they're creeping closer to the red zone.
And I like this. They've got Darius Royster at the top of your screen. They keep the tight end over there to help in for protection if needed.
Once again, runs up ahead, just about a yard short. Brings up fourth and 1.
Interesting call. Run the ball on 3rd and 5 in that situation.
The offense remains on the field. 2 of 5 this season on 4th down, and Bird surges ahead and gets the first down.
Great job by number 13, Teron Mallard, the big 6'5", 250-pound tight end. Kind of hard to find Quayshawn Bird when you got the tight end pulling behind him. Nice design. Normally after they run that type of pass, that type of running play, they'll do a little play action, see if they can get Mallard in the flat.
Williams holds on to it himself and brought down by Khalid Blunt. And an injured player down on the field for the Eagles. As it looks like Cyrus Stanback is slow to get up.
There's an injured player on the field.
Timeout on the field. We'll step aside here. Come back with us.
Because we make our meat with the good of the deli and no artificial preservatives. Make every sandwich count with Oscar Mayer Deli Fresh.
Kick off your Week 6 NFL Sunday with ESPN and the ESPN app at 10 a.m. Eastern. Our Sunday NFL Countdown crew will have all the early breaking stories, injury updates, and preview each game right up to kick off. Back here at O'Kelly Riddick Stadium, Bethune-Cookman continuing to drive. First time tonight either team has been in the red zone. Akevius Williams wide open on that left side, and he's in for the touchdown. Williams, the Wildcats' leading rusher on the season, gets out for a 19-yard scamper and puts up some more points for the Wildcats.
I mean, just reading the in-man on the line of scrimmage, and once you go down, there's nobody outside of Jesse Malik. Number 91, he goes down with the ball carrier. That is a blown assignment on defense from North Carolina Central, allowing Williams to go into the end zone untouched.
Nine plays, just over 3.5 minutes on the drive. They primarily did it on the ground. Akevius Williams taking it in.
New nighttime clear liners, only at Smile Direct Club.
Boomer will be joined by SVP and Joe Tessitore Sunday night on prime time. They'll have all the highlights and breakdowns from the day's games with updates after the Sunday night and Monday night games. Get ESPN Plus. Download the app or go to ESPNplus.com. That Bethune-Cookman score aided by that fourth down conversion. First time this season that the Central defense has allowed a fourth down conversion that kept the drive going and allowed Akevius Williams into the end zone. Thursday night MEAC battle from the Bull City here on the campus of North Carolina Central University. Codrington on the return, crossed the 20 and brought down just near the 23.
Let's take a look at how they scored that touchdown. It's basically by formation. You've got this bunch formation, which they're giving too much attention to, these three safeties here. Take a look at the box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the box. They've got a running back here who accounts for the quarterback. They've got everybody defended, but the second fastest man on the field. And Williams recognizes that and makes him pay.
Williams with his 7th touchdown on the ground this season. And Coach Sims talked about he has the ability to be the playmaker when needed for this team. Yes, we've seen him manage the football game, but he also can bring it. The pressure being brought by Devin James, and Richard just throws it away.
And, you know, for Williams, he's that guy that when he's completing passes, he's the ultimate weapon. But we've seen tonight when he struggles in the passing game, he's yet to really put it together this year where he's been that dual threat quarterback of having the ability to run and pass effectively. But like we said in the open, the story for Bethune-Cookman has been just win. They haven't been pretty wins, but as a quarterback, you're judged ultimately by wins and losses. And so far, the Wildcats are off to a good start.
Only one loss on the season. That came at Miami. Outside of that, started off the year strong with Jackson State
30-second timeout
in that MEAC SWAC challenge, and then go on the road and win in Itabena at Mississippi Valley State. And then they get 2 conference wins, and there are 3 teams currently with 2 wins and no losses in the MEAC. That's Bethune-Cookman, Florida A&M, and North Carolina A&T. Also matching overall records as well, in South Carolina State lurking right behind them with an all-important game this weekend.
And what's interesting to note now, this is the first time in probably 7 years which you play everybody. So there used to be, when they had Savannah State in their conference, you wouldn't play every team in your conference. There were 2 teams you wouldn't play. Everybody's going to play everybody. So whoever wins it's going to win it on the field, and it's going to be a fantastic year of MEAC football.
Mookie Collier gets the toss on the outside, and Collier still on his feet, and he's knocked down by Vernon Walker right near the sticks. But Mookie Collier, again, that redshirt freshman who transferred from Marshall, and he gives them a different look.
They called him the home run hitter. He's a guy that can take it the distance once he gets going.
The toss to him once more, and Collier is wrapped up and pushed out of bounds by Trevor Merritt.
That's a tough call there. I know you want to run the ball to your left side behind Ricky Lee, big number 73, but running a little toss sweep into the short side of the field, not a lot of real estate for a sprinter. Easy tackle for Trevor Merritt to make.
Loss of 2 on the play. Brings up 2nd and 12. Richard tries to get it out. One-handed catch. Nicely done and corralled in by big number 12, Quentin Chaplin. Chaplin, the high school wide receiver, showing off those hands.
Showing off his gloves. Look at that. That ball was low. One hand with a lot of velocity. And then carries it in one hand. Former quarterback, he's got those quarterback mitts. And this is where who's going to step up and make a play for Davius Richard, the quarterback. He's going to deliver the ball. Who's going to run the route and make the catch?
Some pressure, gets away, and just overthrows his man. E.J. Hicks running down the sideline, who was covered by Lawrence.
And I think that's one of the few poor decisions we've seen Richard make tonight. I thought after he escaped the pocket, there was plenty of room to pick up the first down running. Locked in on a receiver and threw the incomplete pass.
So Picaro, the senior out of Boynton Beach, who has been busy tonight, boots it away. And Tyree Spain just lets this one bounce. Well, Jay, we've gotten an opportunity to see this run strike defense for North Carolina Central, but we've also watched Bethune-Cookman just start to build momentum in third quarters, second halves in total. They seem to figure it out. When they go in the locker room and they make their second half adjustments, they come out looking like a different team.
Yeah, and normally what happens when you know you may have the more physical team, then you start to say third quarter we own it. You know, we felt them, they made them feel their power, but now you go for the knockout blow in the third and fourth quarter.
Robinson on the carry. And Robinson picks up a few. Remember, if you're just tuning in, folks, it was the 54-yard touchdown catch from Jimmy Robinson that put Bethune-Cookman ahead. And then in this third quarter, Akevius Williams had a 19-yard touchdown run. That's how we get to this 14-3 score. And dragging defenders with him is Ladarian Wilson. Wilson so strong, the redshirt junior out of St. Cloud, Florida. Brought down by Jerome Foster.
They tried to get Wilson going early in the first half, but the holes weren't there. But now we're seeing the physical play for Bethune-Cookman, particularly on the offensive line, start to open up holes a little bit bigger for the running back, the big running back, to get through.
Wilson, who trimmed down this season, lost about 10 yards, getting in better football shape, stronger. And again, if he can complement, say, an Isaac Washington and Akevius Williams in the backfield as a third option running the football, they continue to look pretty. Remember that last drive for Bethune-Cookman, 9 plays. That was their longest drive. And they continue to keep the ball on the ground, much like they did in their last possession.
They would like to run the football, but just when you start thinking they're trying to get control of the line of scrimmage, they go to the pass. I thought they were winning the battle up front in the trenches, and then they start going to the passing game a little bit.
Ladarian Wilson slow to get up, but he trots off to the sideline. Well, just 4 home games for Bethune-Cookman this year, so they'll be on the road quite a bit. Terry Sims says, you know, the schedule is what it is. We take whatever comes our way, but what's remaining is they'll go home against Norfolk State, and South Carolina State host them both, and then on the road to Delaware State, North Carolina A&T, and close out with the Florida Classic.
You tell me that with that schedule, so they need to get a W here, but those last 2 weeks of the season, that's going to determine their fate right there. Hopefully they're in a position to compete, but big game at South Carolina State, not knocking that one, but you end the season with games versus North Carolina A&T and the, I don't know if I call the Florida Classic a rivalry. I mean, it used to be, but it's kind of, you don't think they're chalking up the W?
Bethune-Cookman has owned that rivalry.
Yeah, I think Bethune's counting that as a win. So they're like, we just got to beat Aints. I know, I'm just messing with y'all Raptor fans.
Punt, bobble, but falls out of bounds. Where our Week 6 Monday Night Football game is a big NFC North matchup at Lambeau Field between Matthew Stafford and the 2-1 Lions and Aaron Rodgers and the 4-1 Packers. Detroit has won the last 4 games against Green Bay. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app. Our coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6.
I got to watch that game there because
there's some slingers.
Them some gunslingers there. They are. Stafford's the old-fashioned, got a rifle. And Aaron Rodgers and I think Mahomes have the rubberiest, livest arms in the NFL. They can just do things that other quarterbacks can't do in football.
Isaiah Totten, and Totten on the outside. He's got a lot of room, turning on the speed, a little hesitation step, and he's pulled out of bounds by Peters. But Isaiah Totten with his biggest play of the night, 41 yards, and he's starting to come alive here.
And you see they designed this play for the inside run, but he had the vision to make the safety miss. And when you run him inside, that gives him more room to bounce either left or right, keeps the defense honest, and he explodes for a much-needed big play for North Carolina Central.
They feed the rock again to Isaiah Totten, still on his feet near the 30-yard line. His offensive coordinator, Moses Ware, who you've mentioned many times, says, look, he is one of the most explosive and best running backs in the league as flags fly out.
And this is going to be some type of unsportsmanlike foul because it was clearly on the pile on the bottom.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Defense, number 91. That is his first of the game for disqualification. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
That unsportsmanlike penalty against Tony Bowman and the Wildcats, so that marches NCCU into the red zone for the first time tonight.
And look at Bethune-Cookman after giving up that long run. They are stacking that box. Look at all those white jerseys within 6 yards of the line of scrimmage. Take a one-on-one matchup on the outside.
Hand off to Totten, and Totten across the 10. So a steady dose of Isaiah Totten on this drive, and after his 41-yard carry, they continue to go back to the redshirt junior out of Apex, North Carolina.
Look at the double tight end formation on the bottom of the screen.
Totten again and they're feeling it, and so is he. But let's talk about that offensive line, that push and protection up front to create those holes for Totten.
Well, I think what they've done is, they brought in the tight end. So if you take a look, they've got in number 84 as well as number 80. And they're saying those guys can block the linebackers. We're just struggling blocking the interior line.
Peters quickly there on the stop for Totten. So he will get a breather. He's had 5 carries on this drive already. Tonight, he's amassed 81 yards. Timeout taken by North Carolina Central. Bethune-Cookman. But now this is a chance for Central. It's their best position of the night. They're in striking distance. What do you call up in this 30-second timeout as they have the opportunity to score here?
Yeah, well, Bethune has shown they're going to sell out either one way or the other. They're either going to overload that box and bring pressure to get you out your comfort zone, or they're going to play completely off. So you have to give your quarterback a kill signal in there that says, hey, if we get this look where they're selling out to stop the run, we kill it, we throw something to the outside. If you get the soft coverage outside, you just do a quick handoff to the middle to try and get closer to the goal line. But I haven't seen them adjust yet. Right now, Bethune-Cookman's defense, they're home run or strikeout. That's what they're doing right now, how they're lining up. So I want to see what they do and give my guy a choice, and I don't want him to have to audible. It should be a built-in call.
Central has possessed the ball more than 27 minutes in this game. Davius Richard with time finds his man, completes the pass to Jordan Freeman. And Freeman near the 2-yard line as time continues to wind down here in the third frame.
And they're going back to that double tight end formation with the substitution personnel they put in there. And they're going to talk about let this quarter expire.
So it will be 3rd and goal from the 2-yard line when we come back. 4th quarter on the way in this MEAC battle between Bethune-Cookman and North Carolina Central.
The college football playoff.
Back here in the Bull City, and Moses Ware, no stranger to Durham, played here from 91 to 94 with the Eagles, ended his career as the 4th leading wide receiver, and now he is the first-year offensive coordinator for North Carolina Central.
And during that break, he was next to his young freshman quarterback the whole time talking to him, so I think they're going to put it in the hands of Davis to make a play.
Davius Richard on the handoff to Isaiah Totten on 3rd and goal, and snuffed out and read all the way by the defense of Bethune-Cookman. Vernon Walker was there bringing the pressure. Rashawn McNeil helped to cap it off.
And what a stop. And we said Bethune-Cookman, when they get their backs against the wall, they will sell out. Look at everybody at the line of scrimmage. That was a run blitz, designed to stuff the run. The only way you were going to get that ball in the end zone was by throwing the football, or maybe with play-action pass. Good call by Yogi Jones, the defensive coordinator from Bethune-Cookman.
22-yard field goal attempt is good from Adrian Olivo. So another 3 points get on the board for North Carolina Central. They trail Bethune-Cookman by 8. And if you're Terry Sims in the defense, you've got to feel good like that was a solid win. We only gave up 3.
Yeah, it was the best drive we've seen from North Carolina Central thus far. And keep in mind, they held them to just 3 points, and they kept the drive alive with that 15-yard penalty they got for unsportsmanlike conduct. So the aggressive nature of the Wildcats showed up when they needed it, when they got backed up against their own goal line.
Well, just a reminder to our viewers, you go back to the first half, and Jimmy Robinson, he caught this one, and he took it to the house. 54 yards for the score. That made it 7-3 after a field goal from NCCU. And then Akevius Williams trying to tack on a little extra insurance in that third quarter to make it 14-3. And then after that Eagle field goal once again, that's how we get to our score. Jimmy Robinson back to receive. The ever-dangerous return man, another short or pooch kick, and Jimmy Robinson able to get away. Jimmy Robinson on the move. Jimmy Robinson, watch out.
It's over.
Score, but there's a penalty marker on the field just near the 35-yard line.
That's a touchdown. That's going to be a face mask.
For a touchdown, flag.
That was a 79 kickoff return for Jimmy Robinson. He's done it so many times before. We'll hear from Rick Warren.
The result of the play was a touchdown. From the return, personal foul, face mask on the kicking team. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
I mean, I said don't kick it to him. It's not worth it. You see this, even with the face mask, he gets turned around, but look at the balance. And we talked about that cut and the ability to accelerate from 0 to 60 at the drop of a dime. And once you see him, he sizes you up. Oh, it's over. It is over, like all great return men do. When you see that kicker in your sights, you're looking past him. You're looking in the end zone. Jimmy Robinson does it again.
What did you say at the beginning of the broadcast? What moniker did you tag to him?
Who, that Big Time Jimmy?
Big Time Jimmy.
Big Time Jimmy, Mr. Excitement, all that. And every time Tiffany Green's in the building, Jimmy Robinson likes to show what he can do. Wildcats taking control.
Education, research, and STEM, creating innovative ways for new Wildcats to change the world.
Penalty on that point after attempt. They retried once more. It's good. 21-16, Bethune-Cookman. You know, we were just talking in that quick break, Jay. The idea of a pooch kick is to what?
To kick the ball away from the returner.
Correct. So in
allow him
that
to hurt
instance, why are they continuing to kick it to Jimmy Robinson?
I mean, I've been questioning that ever since the game started. Just kick the ball out of bounds. You're better off giving them the ball on the 35-yard line, allowing your defense to do some things. But they elect to try and kick it short. He catches it with a little bit of momentum. And even after the face mask, that couldn't bring him down. He just shifts and wiggles. And he's just faster than anybody else you have on your team.
Jimmy Robinson, again, is that guy who can do a little bit of everything for your ball club. He's just one of those players that you want to get the ball in his hands and you just say, go, do, be a football player.
And there's certain people that have that knack. You know, I remember in recent years, it was like Tariq Cohen. You know, you always say, why don't you just give him the ball every play? He's going to do something for you. The kid down in Prairie View, Dewanye Tucker, is that type guy. And I think for Bethune-Cookman, they've got weapons in Williams who can roll at the quarterback position and Jimmy Robinson who can do it all.
We go back to last year and he was able to do the same thing, this time out of the end zone. How about 100 yards streaking in that yellow goal in Daytona Municipal Stadium? Shooting up the deuces, or, you know, throwing up the deuces. How about that? Let me say throwing up the deuces. As he wore number 22 last year, he said, you know, that was too hard for me to, you know, continue putting up 2 twos. So I just moved to number 1.
All right, and he's getting it done. And what he doesn't get credit for, think about the vision he has. I mean, anytime you're running untouched in those long type of returns, he's picking the right hole to run through. He's not running to the back of his defenders. So he's got the balance, he's got the speed, and he's got the vision to see how the defense is swarming towards him and to escape.
I'll tell you this. I remember my father did a story with Bullet Bob Hayes, and he raced him in a car just to see how fast he was. I would like to do that with Jimmy Robinson. The penalty assessed on the kickoff, and this one go to the back of the end zone.
So now I think it's desperation time for North Carolina Central. And you have to, right now, you have to go with a hurry-up type offense and let your quarterback throw the football. I don't know if you have enough time to start running it. And normally I'm not a big fan of, stepping on the panic button with 14 minutes to go, but because this offense has really struggled, they've really only had 2 drives all night, you have to trust your freshman quarterback to either win or lose this football game for you.
The throw and just off the hands of Jordan Freeman. I think you go back to that first drive, Jay, you try to establish a little bit of your will and what you want to do. They went 12 plays over 5.5 minutes and walked away with a punt. And since then, it's just been difficult for them to gain a rhythm. They missed a field goal. They were able to boot through a couple of them, but not able to find the end zone the way they would like. Richard able to get it away, finds Jordan Freeman underneath, penalty marker on the field, back near the quarterback as Richard slow to get up.
That was a late hit on the quarterback. Tack on some more yardage after the play.
Flag on the field.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 91, contact to the quarterback's face. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, automatic first down.
And you will see Tony Bauman. This ball is out, goes to the face mask area of the head. And is that the second?
That is.
That's a rough in the passer. The other one was unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yep.
He needs to be careful, or else he will be watching the rest of this game and the first half of the next game.
Richard, the delayed handoff to Jordan Freeman, and Freeman with a couple of moves and cuts in near the 40-yard line, a pickup of 13.
Call here, and you see the shiftiness of Jordan Freeman here. Watch this little cut right there go by him. He tries to hit you with a second cut, showing you the shifty moves.
So Central moving into Bethune territory, and this one just thrown out of bounds by Richard. Deshaun Stevens, the intended target.
And this is what I mean. You have to step on the gas pedal. You want to be in a hurry, but you're not rushed. Wear down the Bethune-Cookman defense in their secondary. Get up to the line of scrimmage. Have a sense of urgency, like you're going to attack this defense that's been attacking you all night.
Four receivers for Richard. Has time. Directing a little traffic. Jordan Freeman able to make that catch as he was falling to the ground.
And good job by the offensive line on a blitz pickup to give Richard time to throw the football.
Pickup of 5, now 3rd, and that many to go.
Earlier in the game, they had success targeting number 15, Ryan McDaniel. Daniel goes in motion, see if he can get involved in the passing game again.
Once again, bringing the pressure, and McDaniel the intended target, but just too low for him to get. Now 4th down.
And that was the pressure, not allowing Richard to step into the throw. Really didn't see a hard effort, though, from Ryan McDaniel to get open on that play, almost like he thought he was going to be a secondary receiver.
Interesting to go with it. 4th and 5 for North Carolina Central. They haven't had the most success converting, and this snap gets away from Richard. Richard picks it up and just heaves it up and out of bounds, and a turnover on downs. Tough luck off the bad snap. And Davius Richard couldn't do much with it, throws it away. It's Bethune-Cookman's ball when we come back.
Broken friendship led to a legendary rivalry.
The friendship is over.
Jimmy Robinson seems to bring his A games when the ESPN crew is here, especially Jay Walker. You know, at halftime, didn't you say Jimmy Robinson was number 3 on your list?
Yeah, he's trying to move up. And this is how you move up the list. Big-time performances like that. That stat should be whenever Jay Walker's in the building.
Oh,
We've seen in the past 2 weeks that I'd like to put on a show for my man Jay.
That's what it is. 5 touchdowns, 336 all-purpose yards for Jimmy Robinson. Isaac Washington, who they like to call baby Walter Payton, on the carry. Pickup of just about 6.
And this is one where you would like to see, I'd like to see Kevis Williams like match Robinson's intensity. You know, they're the 2 stars, so Robinson, Jimmy, you went and got one. Okay, I'm going to go get me another one. You know, if you can play off each other with that type of energy, I mean, this is when it becomes a very difficult offense to defend.
Williams keeps it, shakes one, goes right back and gets positive yards.
And that was good team defense from North Carolina Central, keeping Williams in the pocket, not allowing him to bounce that thing to the outside.
Stand back, and Brandon Bailey were in on the stop. Now 3rd and 3. And Washington really with nowhere to go. Pickup of 1, and that brings up 4th down. So a quick 3 and out for Bethune-Cookman.
But they ran the ball. They wanted to keep the clock rolling there. Didn't pick up the 1st down. But in the battlefield position, if they can pin this Eagle offense back even further against an offense that's really struggled this evening, things are still pointing in the right direction for Bethune-Cookman.
You know they're hungry for a MEAC title, wanting to make it to the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl. They're well on their way as 2-0 in the conference, looking to make it 3-0. They have a 21-6 lead here in Durham. Will step aside, come back.
ESPN College Football is presented by McDonald's.
Jay Walker, Tiffany Green back with you from O'Kelly Riddick Stadium in Durham. 21-6, Bethune-Cookman on the road and trying to remain perfect in Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference play as a big weekend looms. And this is an all-important MEAC battle for the Wildcats. The handoff to Mookie Collier, and Collier stopped by Devin James. Pickup of 2.
And I'm noticing this system kind of throws you off. I mean, if I'm a running back and I'm feeling hot and I'm starting to get in the groove, and I know that I got to come out for the next one, they've been consistent, though. They bring in Totten for a series, they bring in Freeman for a series, and then they bring in Collier. That would frustrate me a little bit if I was a running back.
Quickly whistled.
Number 79, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Pushes North Carolina Central back 5 yards.
Take a look. Oh, yeah. Forgot the snap count.
Yeah, 2nd time tonight we've seen that from OKZA, OKK. Got to slow down and make sure I get that right. Richard with all kinds of time, flushed out, and then quickly met by Ontario Johnson. Johnson and Brandon Laycock right there.
Johnson is in some pain. Wonder if his hand got caught going to the ground.
And you see him just kind of throwing his legs around. He quickly took off that glove on his left hand. Terry Sims will come take a look. We'll be right back here in Durham.
It's a year versus cable with America's #1 live TV streaming service. Learn more at sling.com.
Ontario Johnson on the sideline after going down, appeared to may have hurt his hand. He was trying to shake it off after that tackle. And when he was down, he just immediately looked like he was in pain. So he's being tended to on the sideline by the trainers. 4 tackles tonight and for the transfer from East Mississippi. Well, Trey Oliver is looking at a group where he's having, it's a project, right? Anytime you come in as a first-year head coach, you have to establish your culture, your mindset with this group. And he said, look, we want our identity to be fast, physical, and disciplined.
That discipline, he put emphasis on that word discipline. And so he's saying, you know, we have to have some discipline. And they've had some players on this team that are no longer on this team because of discipline. But I think ultimately it's the right thing that you have to do.
Right.
And you have to be consistent across the board with it.
And coming from behind, the pressure, and Richard not able to get away from Reeves. Reeves, the junior out of Miami, Florida. And they say he's done a really nice job this season. Come along. And they've needed their depth to show through on that defensive line.
Yeah, and Reeves has had a good job filling in for, you know, their all-conference defensive end, Marcus Ford, who, number 48, you see there on the sideline, who hasn't been able to play past a game or so. Reeves has really stepped up his game, and that's football. Next man up.
Here's Spain brought down near the 45-yard line. Well, Saturday, this is a big one in the Big Ten with number 10 Penn State taking on 17th ranked Iowa in Iowa City, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on ABC and the ESPN app. The Hawkeyes looking for their first win in the last 6 tries. Hawkeyes haven't won since 2011.
Interesting road test for Penn State, Nittany Lions. Iowa never an easy road trip.
Wildcats offense back on the field. Ooh. Wow, right there, but not the ball carrier being brought down. Akevius Williams keeps it. It was Cyrus Standback who delivered that hit to Quayshawn Bird. It was Darius Royster who chased Williams out of bounds for a loss of 9.
That's a great job by Akevius Williams, because normally when there's that much disruption on the timing play, you look for the ball to go on the ground, but he had a quick enough reaction to pull that ball. And although he lost yards, just being able to maintain possession is a small victory for Bethune-Cookman.
Content to take their time here with the 21-6 lead. Under 5 to go on the play clock. Bird with the carry. Patrick Connor in on the stop.
You see Bethune-Cookman is realizing that time is on their side. Not going to chance throwing the football. They're going to run down play clock as much as they can for a consistent number of plays and try and milk this thing and get on the bus.
One of the things we've seen throughout tonight's game is a really balanced attack. You know, offensive coordinator Alan Suber really wants that to be the identity of this team. It's been that Akevius Williams trying to test that secondary and coming down with it. Oh, just knocked away as Marcus Riley almost had that one. And Riley, who's listed as a quarterback on our boards, also comes in at wide receiver, but you see them trying to take a shot there, trying to test Steven Stokes.
Yeah, he had the ball, but it was the impact from the ground that Made the ball come loose. A little bit surprised. Aggressive play call. But offensive coordinator Alan Suber just trying to put the dagger in North Carolina Central. They still have hope. And they've been coming after the punter. Let's see if they go for the punt block or the punt return.
Bryce Coward gets it away. And just letting this one bounce is Codrington, and it takes a friendly Wildcat bounce just near the 15, where we talked about just how big this game is for Bethune-Cookman, controlling their own destiny. Everyone's trying to catch up to North Carolina A&T. They move up in the FCS coaches poll thanks to your main man, Jermaine Martin, leading the FCS in rushing yards. And then Tyreek's, we'll get a chance to see him this weekend in Orangeburg.
Yeah, 5 passing touchdowns for a running quarterback. So that's letting you know he's starting to play at a very high level. You talked about Jermaine Martin. And I think that's part of that A&T way. Why are they moving up the polls? Because they realize they've got one of the best players in FCS football. And have the impressive non-conference victories over Charleston Southern as well as Elon. But who's going to be the one to knock him off?
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, you come into this season, and some said it was going to be Bethune-Cookman. Some say Florida A&M. Of course, South Carolina State in that conversation as well. Jay, if you're a betting man, do you see A&T going down and giving that crown away?
I see them losing the game. I don't see them not winning the MEAC. I think somebody's going to knock them off. I mean, let's think about it. They won the HBCU National Championship last year, and they got beat by Morgan State. And then Florida A&M beat them as well. So they can be beat. But you're going to have to play an A-plus game. And that's what, when I'm watching Bethune-Cookman play, I mean, this is a team that, everybody thinks is going to come in second place in the conference. They play with anybody. They can play up, but they can also play down. And, this is a Central team that's clearly rebuilding, and they were struggling with them. We saw them struggle with Morgan State last week.
But we've seen here tonight just a second half team for Bethune-Cookman. It's like the light bulb flicks on. We saw it with Jackson State. We saw it last weekend with Morgan State. And again, once more tonight against the Eagles.
And I will say this. They do have, this defense is good enough to win a championship. I mean, you don't see anybody going out there carving up Bethune-Cookman defensively. So the defense can compete for a championship. And now that they've figured out more ways to use Jimmy Robinson, I think this team could be dangerous. But right now, I think ball game comes down to this play right here.
Long-time defensive coordinator Yogi Jones has done a good job leading that unit. Pass incomplete. So we'll step aside. 21-6, Bethune-Cookman holding tight to the lead.
Got it.
Back here in the Bull City, MEAC battle as Bethune-Cookman with a 21-6 lead. And coming into tonight's game, the story was North Carolina Central forcing a lot of takeaways, nearly 3 a game. Second best in the FCS, 0, none tonight.
Yeah, Bethune-Cookman on the other side, ball security is something that they practice, and they're the second best in FCS. They've only had 3 turnovers on the year, and they weren't going to turn it over tonight. And I think by Central not being able to cause those turnovers really put them at a disadvantage.
Quayshawn Bird, if he gets loose, you better watch out. This guy can fly as well, gets down to the 10-yard line. 23-yard pickup on that run.
And they're just trying to run the football, and their offensive line started taking control of the line of scrimmage in the second half. That's what we said. Physical teams wear you out in the third quarter. They knock you out in the fourth. It's been a knockout blow for Bethune-Cookman offensively.
Here's Bird once again along the right side, inching closer to that end zone. And that block by Teron Mallard helped Bird pick up 7.
And I'm pretty sure that Terry Sims was content just having the offense go take the field, take about 3 or 4 minutes off the clock, but willing to say, hey, if you guys are going to run for a touchdown, I'm not going to stop you. Oh, wow, razzle-dazzle.
In the end, and right there is Akevius Williams. Marcus Smith, Riley rather, on that toss. Were you expecting that, Jay?
No, not at all. It looked sweet. It was nice there. Good job of selling it by Bird. You thought he was bouncing it. And we mentioned earlier how Marcus Riley has attempted passes before. He's a wide receiver / quarterback. They put all over the field and throws a touchdown.
Point after attempt is no good. And a penalty flag flies out onto the field just near the 5 after the kick.
After the play, on sportsmanlike conduct, defense number 53. That's his first in the game. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
A little frustrated, too. I mean, Bethune electing to not take a knee, then they come up with a trick play. Now, when I see these trick plays, I always like to watch what the quarterback does. Let's see what the quarterback does. Does he sell it? He just gives it to him and looks like he's looking and just disappears to the outside. Nice execution.
Jay, they dialed that one up as the Philly special?
No, not quite Philly special. That was high risk. That was more high risk than Philly special, but the footwork for the quarterback is very similar to that. I'm sure they probably called the Wildcat or something like that. But it's very rare that you draw up a play and it works like to perfection. And that one like worked to perfection.
On the kickoff, McDonald giving the Eagles a chance to return this one. It's Jordan Freeman, and Freeman wrapped up near the 5. We're just inside the 5-yard line, and that's where the Eagles will start. Well, SportsCenter tonight after Syracuse, NC State with Kenny Mayne and Kevin Connors. They'll have Giants, Patriots post-game reactions, as well as ALDS Game 5 reactions with a look at how the winner matches up against the Yankees in the ALCS. And hear from the WNBA's first-time champs, SportsCenter, after college football on ESPN and the ESPN apps.
You know the Mystics have to win it now.
Yeah.
I mean, DC, DMV region becoming, title city. Nats with an impressive victory last night.
Yeah, you were up late last night watching that.
Had to. I'm a fan.
Extra inning.
And all my buddies I grew up with in California called me a traitor. Because I did grow up a Dodger Blue fan. But I actually like the Nats better. They play the old Tommy Lasorda style of baseball. Rely on pitching, timely hitting. And then we're going to put it on St. Louis. But
you tip your cap to Steven Strasburg. I mean, the way he's been able to pitch in the playoffs, he's come through in big moments.
Yeah, we can pitch. I say we. They can pitch.
Homer. Out of the end zone.
Another drop pass. Should have been caught by number 15, Ryan McDaniel. That's at least his 3rd drop that I know of. And I think what Pee Wee Richard can do is you got to learn to take a little something off the ball. So when the guys are open, he's getting it to them as quick as he can. Whereas if he anticipates when they're going to come open, he can take some velocity off of the ball. It becomes an easier catch for the wide receiver. See, all he has is a fastball. It's a good fastball now. I'm not trying to take a 95-mile-an-hour pitcher and tell him to start throwing 89, but just have to be able to anticipate a little bit better, and doesn't have to throw everything so hard.
But he's got good placement. That 16-yard pickup for Ryan McDaniel. It's a first down. I mean, there are a lot of things that Moses Ware, the offensive coordinator, can work with. And the first time tonight we've seen Davius Richard actually use his legs.
Yeah, showing you some athleticism there.
Remember, he had that big run against Morgan State a couple of weeks ago, had a 62-yard touchdown run. That one, a pickup of 22.
He throws everything hard.
He just zings it in there to Quentin Chaplin.
If you're 6 yards away, you're getting it hard. If you're 18 yards away, you're getting it hard.
Jay, when you're thinking about North Carolina Central and how they fit in the MEAC landscape, last time they won the conference title was back in 2016. How far away are they from perhaps being in contention again?
See, I think it's going to be the mesh on offense and defense. You asked me, do they have enough talent to compete for a championship? I'm going to tell you no. I think over the 2 down years they've had, the MEAC has gotten so much more competitive. A&T, their rival, has gotten a lot better. But I will say this, they're the one team I think can slow down the North Carolina A&T train. I think if Central gets better and more competitive, then they'll take a couple players from A&T, and then maybe the rest of the conference can catch up. But right now, I think it's North Carolina A&T, and everybody's playing for second.
Yeah. Well, you have a team on the other sideline with Terry Sims, and that program has won 8 Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference titles. They were one time the talk of the MEAC, and they really haven't given up that much. They have stayed right there in the top 3 for sure. So what's it going to take for them to get over that hump? They have been able to, do a better job of reducing penalties. They have the playmakers. They have the experience. What more do they need?
I think they're doing it because when Bethune was rolling, they used to beat up on people. Their defense just wore you out. They attacked, and they would run the ball. I think they're doing that now. I'm starting to see a defense now that can beat up on some people. Offensively is going to be the question for them, which is something you never really had to question before.
It's Jordan Freeman getting down the sideline, trying to tiptoe, and steps out just near the 6-yard line. Jordan Freeman with a good pickup. Good for 30.
But I'll say this to finish up that point about Bethune. I think the biggest concern Bethune-Cookman has is the reemergence of Florida A&M. Let's see, like, what can slow down FAMU? Bethune. What can slow down Bethune? FAMU. It kind of works like that, and it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Richard able to zing it in there, and a touchdown to E.J. Hicks, the first touchdown pass of the night. A 6-yard catch.
6-yard bullet.
Yeah.
he doesn't throw change-ups. I mean, and here's the one, and this is a case where the strong arm and the quick release pay off because the defensive back was trying to jump the route, but he was able to get there before he could undercut this throw for the touchdown score.
Well, what it looked like the true freshman may have been a little rattled. We've seen a lot of drop passes in this game. He then goes and drives 95 yards for that scoring possession.
Yeah, and they changed up the personnel they used out there. They simplified it. They put a tight end in there for protection a little bit, kept one running back in there just to let him know he would be protected, to simplify the reads. And it was an impressive drive there from Davius Pee-wee Richard.
And Terry Sims and his group just waiting to run out the final 2 minutes and 26 seconds before they head back to Daytona Beach and hopefully hold tight to this win.
Yeah. Jimmy won't get a chance at this one. You got to go onside kick here if you're North Carolina Central.
You think they may have learned that lesson on his last return?
You think? Wow, they're one man short here on the bottom half of the screen. Now they make the shift.
And the onside kick, ball still live. And looked like Bethune-Cookman was able to fall on top of it. I think that was Jonathan Thomas.
So you got to be careful there now. The new rule says you can't pull a player off that pile. So if you surround the pile, you just have to watch them come off. Surprised they didn't throw any flags there, because there were some people obviously trying to pull players off the pile.
Well, Jay, this is a special year celebrating 150 years of college football. We've seen some wonderful programming on our air. And among them, I've really enjoyed just talking about, you know, the culture of college football, as we'll see a new quarterback for Bethune-Cookman, Devin Black, now taking the snap, handing off to Quayshawn Bird. Bird barreling ahead, picks up about 9. But as a former player, what did you love most about this game of college football? I know that's a big question for you, so you can pick any aspect, Jay.
Like moments like right now, when I put up 35 points, me and my boys put up 35 points, and then we're looking in the bleachers to see who we're going to see at Howard Homecoming coming up. I mean,
you're supposed to be focused on the game, and you're up here trying to get your social life in check.
If you've already thrown like 4 touchdowns and you know you're going to win, hey, we worked hard to get to this moment. You know, nothing like going on the road and getting a victory. I mean, they're hard to come by, but when you get it, you take care of your business, and you get to watch and enjoy it and take it all in. Because, you know, right now, think about it, Kevius Williams, he's been intense, been tight all week. But now you've got the victory, so you finally get to relax. Now, first time he's probably smiled since that touchdown run. Look at that. That's joy. And talking about it with your buddies. You know.
And he had the trifecta, ran for 1, threw for a touchdown, and caught one as well.
Yes.
Yeah, was a hat trick. Yeah.
That's college football. That's what it's about, you know. I'm surprised, you know, that Jimmy out there, you know, talking to Jimmy right there. It's a time when you kind of clown around and you take it all in. You see the guys that are your backups.
But notice, you should have taken note from them. They're not looking up in the stands. They're not being distracted right now.
See,
they're talking football.
You don't even know the trick. See, you act like you're talking to your guy, and you're looking over his shoulder. So you can see, like, don't move, man. Stay right there. Act like we're talking, and you're looking.
Well, here's what's on tap for Bethune-Cookman. Norfolk State and South Carolina State, their next 2 games at home. And then, as we mentioned, they end the season on the road at Delaware State in Greensboro, and then the Florida Classic on November 23rd.
All those games here, we talk about A&T will be big. And FAMU stop the bleeding. 8 in a row, you told me?
27-13, the final score. Bethune-Cookman remains perfect in the MEAC. They're telling everybody, North Carolina, A&T, Florida A&M, everybody, we're on top for now. Come get us. Kevius Williams had himself a night. 3 touchdowns, caught 1, threw for 1. Jimmy Robinson, he was all over the field. Big time Jimmy, along with the Kevius. And the Wildcats had it going. For Jay Walker and our entire crew, I'm Chip Green saying so long from Durham.
Suction to flush out allergens, germs, mucus, and dirt.
My doctor recommends Navage to breathe better through my nose, and it works. Congestion's gone, and I feel great.
And Navage is so much easier than a neti pot.
Trusted by happy noses everywhere, Navage is nature's decongestant. Online